Welcome back.
We are on. Okay, welcome to our webinar today. We are with MT Sobek, and we're going to get started in just a couple minutes. I just want to give people an opportunity to log on. So again, we'll get started in a couple minutes. For those of you that are joining us, at the bottom of your screen, there is an area down there it says Q&A. So if you have any questions throughout the webinar, just go ahead and type them in. And if we don't get to them at the end during our Q&A session, somebody from the office will reach out to you directly and answer any questions that you might have. So again, welcome to the webinar. I'm Jamie Jones from Whirlaway Travel, and we are located in Westchester, Pennsylvania. For those of you that have never worked with us before, we've been in business for about 35 years. It's a family-owned business. We have a great team of advisors that work for us, and we specialize in customized travel opportunities all over the world. So most people know us for doing international travel, but we do quite a bit of domestic travel as well. And we're really excited today to have MT Sobek, one of our favorite travel partners, do a little presentation on the national parks and some domestic travel in Alaska. We are all working from home right now during COVID-19. We're excited to get to traveling again. We're all kind of getting itchy. So hopefully this will spark some interest, and maybe you can add a national park to your list for travel in the future.
Okay. Hi, everybody, and thank you, Jamie. I hope you can hear me well, and that I'm excited to be here today and to welcome you to what we like to call our own backyard, which is a little piece of paradise. I wanted to first introduce you to mountain travel to kind of get to know who we are and what our genetics are. So mountain travel actually started in the Bay Area of California in 1969, and we've been in business for 51 years now, leading people through experiential travel all over the globe. So we do work on every continent, starting with our own backyard, which is what we're going to go over today. But you'll see that we've had some great history of just doing adventure travel and really things that really make us feel connected to the earth and connected to being outdoors. So we celebrated our 50th anniversary last year with our advisors and all of our travelers, some of our guides, and now 2021 and 2020 we move forward with a new type of travel we think that we're going to see with where we are now. So traveling with us really does equal being outdoors, being active, but active can be on any level. So today we're going to go over what national park really is best for you and what you're looking for when you're picking that park or picking to get into the car and travel with the family or your loved ones to that destination. So all of our guides that you're going to see throughout the parks are career guides. They're all very well vetted. All of the hotels and experiences that we're going to go through today are why we work on the ground and why we guide what we do. So today we're going to find your park, and I hope that you've explored some national parks before and it's not your first time, but just to let you know what we're going to offer you. Of course, the American West, which is our backyard. So anything from Washington down to California over to Wyoming and Jackson and Utah, but also the beautiful back of Alaska. So a beautiful region to see. It's not just all outdoors. There's cities, there's adventures, there's multi-sport. So really the hidden gems of our great American. So what you can expect from the regions, I think this is where you're going to see, what do I really want to do? What are the kids interested in? What are they asking for? Even honeymoons, we have quite a bit that are going for. So if you're looking for canyoneering, or if you want some hiking, of course, horseback riding, you want to go where there's no lights and you want to maybe see the Grand Canyon from afar and you want to see it from a helicopter, then really what you're going to be looking for is the Southwest. So Monument Valley or Antelope and Arches and Zion and Bryce, they really take you through what the water has carved out in our backyard. So lots of canyoneering, lots of really on-ground features. And if you're not very keen to be hiking and you want to jump in a helicopter and be able to see that from afar, then this is really the destination for you. I know that everybody's on mute, but I'm sure if you haven't been to Bryce, that is probably why I just think it's one of the best creations it's ever. If you sit on top of Angel Landing, you just have the best tuna fish sandwich that you've ever had in your life. So our Southwest National Parks Loop is definitely recommended for if you have anywhere from 5 to 14 days. You can start off in Las Vegas and have a nice, get a show and a nice meal, and then head out by car. You can stop in Sedona or you can head straight to Bryce. This is a great trip for people that are looking at driving or they want a full guided trip for them. So there's lots to see, but you have that easy access of Vegas, which is an in and out, a quick in and out. And of course, lots of things going on should you want a pre or a post destination stop. So our favorite activities here, actually, when you get away from the strip, you'd be surprised how many stars you can see. So canyoneering, guiding, and again, helicopter and sightseeing is one of the best things to do in the Southwest. So more of my travel style is more of the guided hikes, deserts, wine tasting, which we all love, some rafting. If you like to do horseback riding and kayaking or even whitewater rafting, that's our own backyard of California. So California offers you not only Yosemite, we have the beautiful sequoias of the Sierra Mountains, but you also have beautiful wine country. And it's not just Napa. We all know Napa exists, but you have Sonoma. You have so many different places in Paso Robles that you can go to. You have all the way into Ojai. So there's a lot more to see, and especially by car. So this is the portion of the people that want to see the water. They're not just looking for the desert portion, but they definitely want to see some hiking. The highlights of this, of course, if you haven't seen the Golden Gate Bridge, you're flying into San Francisco, you're able to drive, heading into Tahoe, for instance, from San Francisco is a quick 3-hour drive, and it's absolutely stunning, whether it's, skiing in the winter or if you're looking at just doing some hiking in the spring or summer. So you have Yosemite in your backyard, you have, as I mentioned, the wineries, of course, but also Sequoia National Park, where you can drive through the big sequoias and you can take pictures of trees that have existed before any of us even thought about roaming this earth. So some of our favorite activities for this is getting a private driver and having him take you wine tasting. How good is it to not have to drive and be able to go through wine country and still have the kids that are enjoying the wineries, because a lot of them are outdoors and very picturesque. But also rafting and biking and horseback riding. I actually spent my summer last summer. We did some whitewater rafting. That was quite interesting. It was my first time, and I will say it was actually really fun. But it was definitely one of those things that you always say you want to do, and then you don't really mean it until you're doing it. So, if you're looking for wildlife, geothermal, this is fly fishing country, kayaking, and then this is like a fisherman's pretty much dream. Northern Rockies. So going to the Grand Tetons, we're speaking about the glacier and how gorgeous it is. It's definitely fly fisher heaven. But this is a part of the world that you would not believe how beautiful it is. And what a time to see it when there's not crowds right now. So we know that being able to drive is probably going to be the easiest way to travel as we're moving forward. So we do think this is going to be a very good, popular destination for you to be able to see without the big buses. The Northern Rockies are just absolutely beautiful. If you have not been to Montana, it truly is a little hidden piece of paradise that is not very populated, which is a good thing. I think they like to keep it that way. But the highlights there is you have both Jackson and Bozeman, which are pretty popular. I'm sure you've heard their name before, but they're just beautiful towns. Yellowstone Glacier National Park, which wild bison, your eagle sighting, this is really what you want to do when you're in the national parks. This has luxury dude ranches. We have great places that we work with that we can make sure that all of your activities are planned. You can have the safari of the wildlife, which I would speak of the bison, the eagles, but also you have great hiking and you have great rafting. I just was planning an itinerary yesterday that was actually a really cool. They had a rodeo the first night. The second night they were rafting the Snake River, and then the third night they had a private riverside dining experience. So very luxurious. Yes, it's the national parks. Yes, it's outdoors, but there are so many good options when you're looking for luxury in this area. So if you're looking for, I've looked for them several times. I can't find them, but orcas. I think I am like not the orca whisperer, but wine tasting, wildlife spotting, rainforest, and of course, just the beautiful Orca Islands. We are gonna send you to the Pacific Northwest. Willamette Valley, probably one of the most picturesque wineries that you've ever seen. Great hiking in Mount Hood, of course. The San Juan Islands are a quick ferry ride away, which is where you see the orcas and lots of wildlife. But just some highlights there. Very easy into Seattle, which has great accommodations, super trendy, quirky area, as we all know. But you also have Portland right in the backyard of that. Lots of sightseeing with the Cascades and lots of picturesque spots. I think your best activities in this area are definitely kayaking, wildlife spotting. I was there last year. We did quite a bit of wine tasting, and actually, if you're going during the spring and you have just tons of waterfalls from all the snow that's running off. So, and then everybody's favorite, if you're looking for glacier hiking, climbing, lots and lots of wildlife, meaning bird, bear, then definitely marine life. You're looking at fly fishing. Alaska is definitely for you. I think Alaska is probably one of our most untouched destinations that is definitely one of the most requested because it's such a small window to travel. You have a lot of ground portion to cover in such a small amount of time. So you're looking at Denali and just some really special islands that are some very special destinations like Glacier Bay. Sorry. So with this, Alaska, we're going to look at a longer type of trip because there is so much ground to cover, and a lot of the ground coverage, you might be in a small plane, but are getting to the next destination. So glacier hiking, climbing, off-roading with the ATVs, and of course, a lot of marine life, as I mentioned. The humpbacks here are just absolutely amazing, and I'm sure everybody's seen kind of the YouTube videos where they circle up and hunt, and that's something that's definitely on a lot of people's bucket list is just humpback whale watching. So with that said, the lodging in Alaska, we talked about some really backcountry lodges, really great customer service. They love to have people come and visit and for them to show them their land. That's absolutely some of the best customer service you'll see. So what does the trip look like, and what's the trip features of planning what your vacation looks like, but custom itineraries. So if you want to guide for one day, if you want to self-drive one day, we can break that up for you. It doesn't have to be guided the entire time. I call these like the National Lampoons. A lot of times dad wants to drive and he thinks that, this is what the kids want to, and mom doesn't want to cook she doesn't want to make the sandwiches, and she doesn't want to have to be stuck packing everything. So it's great to have a guide mixed and keep mom sane. And we all know, the kids are wanting to have that feature of having dad drive them around and play, tunes that were his favorite back in his day. So accommodations, 3, 4, and 5-star accommodations. If you're looking for camping, we can find you some camping options, even if you just want to try it for a day and see if it works out. Sometimes it does, and sometimes people love it. But we also have glamping. So if you're looking at doing under canvas, where you still have running water and proper commodes and toilets, then you're still sleeping in our canvas tent. Those are options that we have to offer you. If you're looking at active adventures, or if you want something, as I mentioned, like the helicopter tours, it's a little bit less active and a little bit more easier on the knees and the joints. We're happy to offer you that as well. And then we also have shared trips. So if you want to join a trip that had different guests in it to maybe cut back on, the amount of time that you're spending private, we have that as well. So there are some great behind the scenes that all of your bucket list dreams will come true, whether it's a behind the scenes chef in Montana that we can set up for you, all of this while you're in the destination. So our accommodations, so what I think that you're going to really enjoy, national parks are not known for their 5-star accommodations. They're known for having very, I think Tamara just said it was more of a rugged luxury, but you're looking at some of them having cafeterias and some of them not having private restaurants. So we want to make sure that you are getting the accommodations that you're looking for. If you need a 5-star, let us know. A lot of these hotels that are working, they're only working with your advisor. So you need to make sure that you're reaching out to them within a 6 to 12 months, because they do book very fast. There's so many possibilities. Even if you're a solo traveler, it doesn't matter. We're able to find those accommodations for you. If you have a special property that you've heard about or your neighbors have been to, if you just let your advisor know, we're happy to go and seek them out and make sure that we can accommodate that into your itinerary. So what makes your trip so special? I live by the fact that in our industry, we have the best guides that are true, down to earth, career guides. They didn't just start doing this for a summer or a summer vacation. I did a webinar this morning. Our guide has been with us for 20 years. There were so many people on the webinar that knew him, and it was just so great to see. I think it's a very important part. The guides that we have are specialists. So if you're looking for photography, for instance, you let your advisor know and they'll come back to us and tell us, hey, we really needed a photography guide, or we have some historians. I have one guy who he basically did movie sets out there in Montana, and now he's a guide that basically had already sussed out the whole area from just doing movie sets since he was a young child. So when is the time to go? So obviously we know that travel right now is difficult for us. We are antsy. We are ready to get off of our couches and into the great outdoors, which who would have thought we took the outdoors for granted so much until now. So winter, best places to go for winter are going to be Yellowstone, Grand Tetons, anywhere you want to do some skiing, some downhill skiing, maybe some snowshoe skiing or some snowshoeing, but that would definitely be that winter sport place. And what to plan. Your summer vacations, obviously, with family or with friend vacations. Alaska and spring break trips are great. Start planning them in the winter. And limited availability on accommodations in the national park. So you definitely want to start planning that between 6 to 12 months out. Spring, the Southwest is beautiful. It's definitely a little cooler, so it's not going to be the death march of summer. California is a great option for that. But when you should start planning that, you should really start planning California in the spring, because it's not going to be as busy as the national parks, but limited availability at the wineries and definitely limited availability when trying to get Yosemite and some of the Sequoia parks. Summer, we say the world is open in summer. You can go anywhere. It's a prime time for Rockies. If you haven't been to Moab, or if you're an avid bike rider, Moab is great. Southwest, again, it's hot. It's doable, but not always the best if you're heat sensitive. So, and then the fall, of course, fall and wine country is my absolute favorite. The leaves are changing. It's a bit damp, or it's a bit cooler on the temperature. And it really, really is a great time to do the Rockies, because all the leaves are changing, and it's just it's a Monet picture. So, and then what do we need? So when you're calling your advisor, the best things to say to them is like, hey, this is what our travel time is. This is what we want. Not everybody has flexible dates, but if you do have a flexible date, that will help us maneuver in a place and a time that really does fit to your itinerary. but activities that you want, and if you're looking at a budget, definitely send that to your advisor. And when they come back to us with their budget, we'll be able to work with anything that we can get inside of there and give you some options too. So if you have X amount of dollars, we can provide different options for you to make it easier to see what you can cut back on if there's a big expense. So that's what I have for presenting to you the national parks and things that you can do in our own backyard. I'd be happy to open it up for questions now. And I hope that was a good overview.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you, Amy. So I have a couple questions that we had from people, and then if we have any additional questions, just definitely make sure that you get those in so that we can get those answered. So the first question that we have is, can I go to Alaska this summer?
And this is Tamara Ewing, and I work with Amy, and I work in the custom department, and I specialize in Alaska. So hello, everybody. And yes, you can go to Alaska this summer. Generally, what we've been hearing is that a lot of parks and hotels are going to start opening up around anywhere from beginning of June to June 15th.
Okay, and it might actually be a good time to go because there's not going to be as many cruise ships in either.
That's exactly, it is so true. It's like, if you don't want to deal with the crowds, it's a great time to explore and have a more authentic Alaska.
Yeah. When I say there's marine wildlife, like I'm truly, I like look for whales everywhere, but there's always big boats around looking for the whales. So it's such a great time to get out there and just be on one with Mother Nature. It really is.
For sure.
And so you answered kind of the best time of the years to travel to the national park. So we have that one. So are there different difficulty levels for physical activities that are offered? So if you have like biking, is there like the adventurous bikers versus like the training wheel bikers that can go out, or do you have levels?
Oh, absolutely. That's a great question, because we do get a lot of families that travel to Alaska. It's a really wonderful destination for that, because a lot of the properties and the places that we send people to are going to combine soft adventure. And for instance, if we went to Denali State Park, we can set up guides that can have different levels of hiking. So if you've got a group, say Grandma and Grandpa don't want to do too much, they would rather do more of a nature trail hike, we can send them off with a guide, and then we can set up the teenagers that are raring to go up more of the strenuous levels. But there is an array of activities. Like, for instance, you can do strenuous hiking, glacier trekking, whitewater rafting, but you can also do scenic floats and flight scene with glacier landings and marine wildlife and glacier cruises like Amy had spoken about. And of course, one of the things that families really love to do in Alaska is ride the iconic panoramic train. So, we combine them together. So we can really make a great custom experience.
Okay, perfect. Let's see. So how do you get to some of the more remote parks?
Yeah. Oh, that's another great question. Because there are 8 national parks in Alaska, and most of the really northern parks, like Gates of the Arctic, Lake Clark National Park, Katmai National Park, and Wrangell St. Elias, they do have the best way to get there is by plane, by like a float plane or a bush plane. And there are some remote lodges that we use. And so you go up there and then you go play for a couple days. We customize some things, and then you can come back to more of the hub of Anchorage. Anchorage, which is generally where you would start.
Okay. Do you have out of all of the national parks in the U.S., is there a favorite for families?
In the U.S., though, that's a great question, Amy.
That's a hard one.
Well, I'd say, okay, so for Alaska, since I love all the national parks, I think in Alaska in general, I think the Kenai Fjords National Park, Denali National Park, and Glacier Bay National Park are really great family destinations because they're easy to get to and they have a lot of various activities. And then obviously in the lower 48, Amy, I'm thinking Yellowstone is pretty prominent for families, wouldn't you think?
Yellowstone's a great one because it's a good easy in and easy out, and there are options around it. But I think for the most visual experience, I love Glacier.
Yeah.
And I think it's like you don't even really get your eyes ready for what you're about to see. It's that
Right.
beautiful. And I think just the glacier, the color of the blue is almost something you would see in Europe in the Dolomites or in somewhere that, something that is much more, I think it takes you back to an older US, which we usually expect in Europe or somewhere abroad. So that's why I say I think glacier is my favorite. But yeah, Yellowstone is a beautiful, I mean, there's so much to do around it. You
Yeah.
have ice and stuff. You just have so much,
Yeah.
we do a Yellowstone at MT Sobek. We do a Yellowstone cleanup every year. We go and we clean the park as a volunteer effort. And I'll tell you, every time I go, I'm still blown away by its
Yeah.
beauty. And the sequoias are still there and it's gorgeous, but I think glaciers.
Glacier. Okay. So this summer, do you think that admission to the national parks is going to be limited because of everything going on?
Well, in Alaska, I do think that there's going to be some restrictions already. We've already heard that, the park's delayed until June 15th. They do have some backcountry, that's Denali National Park, I should say. And there are some, lodges that are inside the park that are not going to be operating, but there might be some outside of the park. And so I think it's just with us being really clear to you what, if you put together a custom trip for you and you've decided, you want specific parks, then we would do our research and be due diligent to know what's going on. But it's a very fluid situation, as Amy knows too. And so I think that it's just communicating with you what we're hearing, right, Amy?
Absolutely. I also think, to touch on that, but that's a great response. But I also think that they're still evolving into what, I don't think they're not opening because they're not ready. I think they're still figuring out what is their safety. So
Right.
I think that having that guide with you is going to be something that's definitely pertinent. Like
Yeah.
it's going to be like, okay, every day the guide, he's temperature tested. He knows that he's been with the same family for this amount of time. Things of that nature is really what we're seeing happen. And I think they're figuring out their own ways, as we all are in this world right now. But I think that that's really what they're waiting for, is what are our standard operating procedures by June 15th? Those will be in place, so we're ready to open. I don't think
Right.
they're not ready. I just think that they want to make sure that they have all their duckies in line as well.
Right.
So, and I
Right.
think by June 15th, we will see that. I will say that we, our rafting and our trips that we have scheduled already, those are all, for the most part, like a lottery of, what is the word I'm looking for? Like it's a permit basically for rafting trips and things like that. So we already own those. We and it's very hard to get them. So a lot of times those trips are going to operate because they don't give but so many a year.
Yeah.
Awesome. And then I think the last one that I have, is there an ideal age for kids to start doing this?
Well, I'll get our overview on that is, if you're doing a private trip with us, there's not really an age limit legally, but I let Tamara touch on what you suggest for Alaska, or the national parks. What would be your?
Yeah, no, it's a great question. I think it comes down to specific activities that you're going to include in your trip. So, for instance, if we have a couple trips up in Alaska that are like combine some kayaking and some ice walking, and they really require, the kids to be at least 5 years old, maybe 5 to 8, but it can sometimes vary with how much they weigh. So, so that we put them in the kayak. So, but I think that, like Amy said too, any private experience, that's not going to be an adherence to the age, but it would depend on what activities we implement in the custom experience.
There we go. Awesome. So sorry, I'm in my car right now because we had a whole bunch of craziness, and so the rain is pouring down. So I put it on mute every single time so you guys don't get hear the rain in the background. So I think that is it for questions. I want to thank you guys so much for your time. I do want to share with everybody that is watching right now that we are offering, MT Sobek, is offering $200 off for any 2020-21 bookings, I believe, if it's made by this year, the end of this year. So thank you very much for that generous offer for our clients. We really can't wait to get back out into the world, and the national parks are very high on our list. So thank you so much. And thank you everybody for joining us this afternoon.
Perfect. Thank you for having us.
Yeah, thank you. It's a pleasure to get to see Jamie and your cacti in the background, I think it is.
Yeah.
He's in the national parks now, at least mentally.
Right.
I'm there right now. Yes.
All right. Well, thank you guys for joining, and
Yes.
we love being a part. Have a great day, Jamie, and we'll chat with you soon. Bye, everybody.
Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye.